I'm going to give Sam O, past chair the iSchool organization, to welcome message, and then we can start. Sam?
Thank you very much. This is, I think, great new beginning for AP iSchool region, and thank you very much for Jun Lee taking leadership to organize this wonderful event. I think it's a great start. We already have a 50 attendance. And this, I think, a new challenge and new opportunity, and it really gives us a new way to collaborate among the API schools. So let us try to be creative and really increase our collaboration amongst us. And also thank you very much for Dr. Suyong Lee from UT Austin iSchool. She's Associate Dean for Education and really taking the time to share and her great research topics. And we are looking forward to it. And thank you very much and welcome.
Okay. Let me introduce first presenter Dr. Lee Suyong. She is an Associate Dean for Education in University of Texas High School. She started her term from August 19th. She's been serving professorship and director of master program in University of Michigan from many years. And now she moved in a much better environment in Texas. I'd like to hear a lot about the situation in America, but let me skip. So, please welcome Professor Lee.
Okay, so I will start over. Hi everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. And thank you so much, Professor Jun Lee, who gave me this opportunity to share my research topics and ideas with you all. So what we will be, I will be sort of talking about today is research agenda that I have been very passionate for the past 5 or 6 years, search as learning. So I happen to be very lucky to be one of the first group of researchers who really have pushed this agenda, search as learning. So I was one of the organizers of a 2014 workshop on search as learning that took place in conjunction with Information Interaction Context Symposium. And since then, there have been a couple of other workshops in different venues. And then this October, at the sort of like a virtual conference on information and knowledge management, there are other researchers who are also looking at this learning during search process. And then there have been a couple of special issues on search as learning, and I was honored to serve as a guest editor for special issue for Journal of Information Science. So my talk will be composed of roughly 3 parts. So first, I want to introduce what we mean by search as learning. So I want to take some time to walk you through introducing conceptual framework. And then I will be presenting empirical research where my research team came up with new measures that can really assess learning in web searching context. And then I will conclude my talk sharing my vision, moving forward with this research agenda. So, okay, part 1. So I would argue that for the past 50, 60 years, information retrieval field has been really driven by this paradigm, search quickly, search easily, search efficiently to find the best answer or best information that's most relevant to your information needs. So there has been tons of studies about that, and then the common goal was to develop search system that match your search query, most effectively. In paper that I co-authored with 3 other authors, Collins Thompson, Hansen, and Lee, we were really trying to present a new framework where we reconfigure search as learning process. Search and learning hasn't been studied together. We cannot really claim that this is a completely new agenda. What's different is that in the past, search has been conceptualized as a finding tool in the context of a learning environment. It was conceptualized as a learning tool. What we want to really do, and then I have been doing, is conceptualizing search as a learning process. What do we mean by that? There have been tons of studies about looking at students' searching behavior and their experience in learning environment. College student, high school student, middle school student, and then adult learners, there have been a lot of interesting studies and findings looking at that part. I would call that kind of study stream as a searching to learn. People are searching to learn something new. And then there are also a lot of studies in information literacy. These are typically library information science researchers and library practitioners who came up with some new idea, how to teach people so that they can become more effective searchers. Both research streams are still under search as a learning tool paradigm, I would say. Those are people who are working on search as a learning paradigm. They really pay attention to look at relationship between learning process and search behavior. Majority of people, their really long-term goal is designing new search system that can foster learning outcomes and then support learning experience in searching. So to introduce my framework further, I think that it's important for me to make sure that you understand three distinct kinds of learning. The first kind is something that we are very familiar with. I would call that receptive learning. So that's basically you gain new knowledge, through reading something, or reading in the web, like a website, or reading books, or from your professor. And then your goal tends to be understanding, comprehending, and then eventually you remember better so that you can do well in the test, or writing essays and so on. Different kind of learning that I want to kind of get your attention here is a critical learning. What it means is that, okay, people are gaining knowledge, but they think critically by evaluating ideas that they actually got from multiple sources. We can also go even further, which is that, okay, after you think critically by evaluating ideas that you gained from multiple sources, based on that, you are generating new knowledge, new ideas, or you are designing new artifacts from what you learned. So just to go a little further, when we just really think of learning as a receptive learning, we tend to think of comprehending, recalling, presenting, identifying. You can demonstrate what you have learned. However, when we actually think of different kind of learning level, critical learning, then these are the kind of really interesting thinking process that's occurring. People tend to critique, they tend to distinguish, they are contrasting different ideas, and then they are doing integrating. So what's going on is that when it also moves to creative learning, people are really getting engaged in designing, discovering, planning, producing, and generating ideas. So in this paper, we presented this new concept, comprehensive search. So you're probably familiar with like a lookup search. That's exactly what current commercial search engines are doing the best job. You know, people know exactly what they are looking for, and then here are the answers. And then they provide that. As opposed to exploratory search that was presented by, you know, Gary Maccionini, and then further developed by Lion White. That's still, you know, more sort of like an unfocused browsing kind of search mode. But I would argue that lookup search and exploratory search are still on the receptive learning mode. What really has, like we are presenting as something new is a comprehensive search. When people are engaged in comprehensive search, they are now critically evaluate usefulness of information. They are assessing credibility of information. They are differentiating different value that they gain from the information. They tend to synthesize, and they're prioritizing. So I think that what I am proposing here is that we need a new kind of search system that can better support this kind of search that has not been really well supported by current search systems. Okay, now I'm moving to the part 2. Are you hearing me okay so far? Okay, good. Because it says the battery is low. I am using this wireless headphone. So if you cannot hear me, I have a backup earphone.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Okay, great. So in part 2, this was published in Conference on Human Interaction and Information Retrieval, and I co-authored with 3 other authors who are either professor or doctoral students in School of Information, University of Michigan. So the motivation of this particular project was that although we believe that some sort of learning is occurring during the search, users may not even realize that they are actually learning something new, or you know what they have learned from search actually contributes to generating new ideas. So this has not been really studied at all. Most of the sort of like information retrieval evaluation studies really focus on how well people are able to find what they are looking for, rather than, you know, how much they actually learned by searching. So we want to demonstrate that users are indeed learning at multiple levels as a result of search. So we started our research with 2 questions. The first one was that since there have not been really well-developed measures that demonstrate learning is actually occurring during search, we decided to come up with what are those like reliable measures and indicators we can develop. The second research question is that when people are submitting their queries in different do they really learn in different do they really the level of learning actually differs depending on how they submit their queries. Okay, so this was a lab-based user research, and then every participant was assigned to one of the 3 different query strategy conditions. However, everybody were asked to conduct 2 learning tasks. So I just told you that all the participants were assigned to one of the 3 conditions. And then the first condition is what we call single query. So what they were told is that, be careful, you will have only 1 query chance that you can enter. And then you have to answer some questions after search, but you can see the search results, you know, that are generated by only 1 single query that you submitted. The second condition is something that we all the time. We submit initial query, you look at the search results, that's not what you are looking for, then you issue the second query and so on. So that's what we are most familiar with. Third condition is something that we were really experimenting. So yeah, they submit their initial query. Yes, they can revise their query. However, the results that they are looking at, it's different. So what we mean by that is that, so the search interface, this is something that we are very familiar with. A user entered the query, open government policy. These are the top ranked results. This is something that we designed. When person entered the term open government policy, instead of giving back search results that are most relevant to open government policy, we generate additional search terms such as open document data, open document website, open government website, and then open data policy. And then we show only top results. And then people can click that orange box. The purpose of this one is that even though a user entered open government policy, maybe that may not be the best query. It's just something that they come up with. So we want to give them options to explore, more search results by showing more diverse search topics. So I just told you that everyone was supposed to engage in two search with the same search task. So we came up with two. The first task was, I will refer to oil spill. So here, basically, we chose this one because this is a pretty everyday life, relatively easy science information that you can read in newspaper. Okay, what chemicals can be used to clean up oil spills? It's not really complicated, relatively easy topic. As opposed to open data, we chose this one because this is actually one of the term paper question for most of graduate students in iSchool. But this actually got a reputation. It was a very difficult final exam question. So where participants were supposed to search on government open data policy. So everybody sort of went through the same thing. They got the instruction, they read the task description that I just showed you. They complete 3 questions from research questionnaire. They got the really instructions, the query condition, which they got one of those 3 conditions assigned to them. And then they conduct a search. And then after that, they were asked to complete post-search questionnaire where there are 15 kind of Likert scale questions and then a few essay questions that I will be talking more. And then toward the end, they complete the background questionnaire, and then this core search completion phase is repeated twice because they had 2 search tasks. Okay, so 42 people were recruited in US university, and you see, they were distributed to one of the 3 conditions. Here is a gender distribution, age, and majority of them were graduate students. We had a few undergraduate students or one alone. Since one of the goals of this study is to come up with reliable measures that can demonstrate learning outcomes and experience from search, we sort of decide to try them all, okay, throw them away and then see what works and what doesn't. So we end up getting lots of different data from 3 different data sources: questionnaire, self-report, implicit measures of learning. So I will be sort of talking a little bit more about that later. So basically, we used a lot of search log that we think that potentially can show learning actually occurred during search. And then the hallmark of this data collection is actually essay writing. Pre-search questionnaire means that before they start searching on oil spill or data policy, they were asked to answer How much they know already about it? How much interest they have? Do they think that the search is going to be difficult? After they finish search, they were introduced to 15 questions where we asked lots of questions, such as engagement level, effort. They felt like they learned something useful. They were able to develop new ideas. This research increased their interest. They are willing to find more, and so on. And then we asked them, how would you rate the success of your search, or how would you rate your learning? These are the kind of sort of like data that we collected from search log. How much time they spent in viewing search results page, how much time they spent viewing documents, how much time they spent assessing search results page per query, how much time they spent viewing actually documents as a result of clicking, how much time they spent, per document per query, and then number of clicks, and then eventually number of useful documents they saved. In terms of really measure their learning, we ask them before they search, please write what you know about this topic. And then after they finish their search, we actually gave them 6 different essay questions. What do you know about, what are the different kinds of actually cleaning method for oil spill? What factors to, influencing environmental issues of oil spill, and so on. So we sort of developed real questions that fit to their search task, but what we actually really did is borrowing famous Bloom's taxonomy, where they differentiated different learning levels from very lower learning, remembering, understanding, applying, all the way to creating. So we kind of follow their different levels of learning and then converted that to questions. So the analysis was really complicated. What we did was that once we looked at the essay, we came up for each question, we came up with 7 different rubrics, and then do you see evidence, or no, I don't see evidence. Do you see evidence? And then 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. That's how we coded. Highest score participant could get from each essay was 7, and then lowest was 0. So here, these are the sort of 6 questions they had to complete in terms of essay writing. These are the sort of scores. So this person's high level, applying, evaluating, creating, we just broke it down into 2 kinds. It was 9. Low level, this person got 11. Altogether, the person's score is 20. This is also interesting. Remember, we asked that what they already know before they search. And then after they search, we asked them, please write what you learned. We decided to compare these 2 essay writing directly. Okay, so the way that we coded is that here's one person's response. So before the person search on oil spill, I guess most oil spill cleanup is done using some kind of skimming device or vacuum cleaner. I don't know much there. So this person says something, but not whole a lot. So this is we code that as a factual knowledge, very preliminary knowledge level, as opposed to the same person after the person searched, wrote this. I discovered cleanup from oil spill depends on many factors, type of oil, temperature, also type of shoreline. You see, the same person answer is quite different from what the person wrote before search. So we coded that as a conceptual learning. So in this person's case, the post-search question and then pre-search question, there is a 1 increase. So other cases, somebody can start with zero knowledge and they can jump up to conceptual knowledge. Somebody can start with zero knowledge and then learn to the level of only factual knowledge and so on. So that's how we analyzed. Ready for findings? So for the first research question, what we found is that difficulty of a search task really matters. When we gave them oil spill, like a relatively easier task, the lower level cognitive learning occurs, but like a higher level was not occurring like so much, as opposed to when they were given difficult task, open data, they actually show more evidence there where they were able to achieve higher level learning. So now you understand why professors always want to come up with a difficult exam question, because that really affects to people's learning. That surprisingly, when they had an easier task, they had a positive learning experience. When we ran factor analysis using 15 questions from post-search questionnaire, we were able to come up with 3 new learning measures. The first one has to do with, they show that learning occurs because they were very willing to search for exploring a diverse information. The second measure that we came up with just their experience with the search system. So again, when they have a positive search experience, they are more likely to learn more. The third is actually learners' interest and motivation. So this sort of really shows that as a result of search, their interest in that particular topic got increased. They are willing to find more. They are willing to share more with other people, or they just simply reported they learned something useful. There are also not really self-reports or nothing from actual content from essay. There are 3 implicit indicators of learning. One is that when participants actually wrote pretty long essay, a lot of these measures show that their learning was higher at higher level. When they spend actually time viewing single document, they are actually more likely to report that they learned more. And then also, when they actually interact with sort of like a document more quickly, I need to see the correlation, then there is like a learning, sorry. Okay, so I am moving to research question number 2. So remember that participants were assigned to one of the 3 conditions. So this is very encouraging result, because we found that our experimental kind of interface where we showed them more diverse topics and then diverse search results, there was more sort of conceptual learning occurred. Conceptual level of knowledge obtaining was happening. And as opposed to when they were asked to just, issue only single query and then multiple query without this new interface, actually almost like a 58% or 47% of the time, they reported that no learning occurred. This is a little tricky. When the search task was quite difficult, I think that both like a sort of a multiple query conditions and the interesting diversity, the level of learning was very similar. So what it means is that the interface design that we came up with, where participants was looking at more diverse search results and then also looking at more diverse search queries, that works well for easier tasks, but not so complex tasks such as open data. Okay, so key point here is that if you are kind of a user who do not read deeply and then clicking a lot in the search results, you are more likely to learn at the lower level, meaning you are understanding better, you are remembering better, and then you are analyzing better. However, if you want to really achieve higher level of learning, such as creating, evaluating, applying, you may want to slow down your clicking behavior and then spend more time in the actual document. So that's actually what we have found from this study. And then we found that the increasing diversity search interface looks very promising design. Okay, now I'm ready to talk about part 3, where I want to share my future research directions. I'm really trying to envision future search systems that can support critical thinking and even enhance creativity. So I just have to mention this because people have misconceptions about what creativity means. Those people who are studying creativity as a research agenda, they distinguish big C, little c. Big C is, Edison, Einstein, like those genius artists, and then musician. As opposed to ordinary people, layperson like me, or maybe some of you, creativity can be learned, and then that's the skill that we can develop. So I want to really claim that it may be possible. I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. It may be possible for us to design search systems that can help people to be better creative thinker. So I was very inspired by this particular book written by Keith Sawyer, explaining creativity. He introduced 8 different stages that people can try to be creative. So finding information, acquiring knowledge, going out and then gather related information. And then you kind of like, sit there and then play with the idea until your ideas get incubated. And then you are moving to kind of a generating idea, combining idea, selecting the best idea, and then you externalize your idea. So I thought that this is really interesting, but those are too many stages. So to me, this is how I interpret it as an information science researcher. There seem to be all these information seeking activities, finding problem, acquiring knowledge, gathering related information. There is this stage of ideation activities, generating, combining, selecting, externalizing your idea. What seems to be really interesting is that this whole incubation stage. So I would say that current search systems that we are super familiar with are doing a great job in yellow part. My goal is that can we actually add new functionality or interventions where incubation is happening so that people are able to say that as a result of search, yes, I was able to generate more ideas. I was able to combine new ideas and even selecting best ideas. So how to get there? I would like to propose 3 kind of constructs. The first one is that, again, I was very encouraged by this intrinsic diversity interface that I experimented in part 2. So I want to really like a designer interface where people can diversify their initial information need. Currently, I would say that most of information retrieval systems have been really focusing on convergent thinking, assuming that there is a best answer, there is a best document. Your job is finding best 3 or 4 most relevant documents. Let's kind of move away from that design principles and moving into search interface where we can support, divergent thinking process. The second idea is that we gotta do better job helping people to make better decisions about credibility of the information. Okay, so far, I think that algorithms are really driven by relevance, but I think that people are concerned about credibility, and then somehow that gives a kind of space for people to think critically, some annotation or, like a moving around the search results in their own way, whatever, I don't know yet. This is my future research that I want to try. So people can interact with information with a more sort of critical perspective. Third idea that I want to really move forward is can you really come up with new interventions and tools that can support ideas? What we mean by ideation is that currently search process ideation is completely disconnected. Can you really support people's activities so that those people who have found certain information can move forward so that they can like new ideas, new concept, new topic they did not know before search. So those are the kind of like three constructs that I want to move forward. So I have talked a lot. If you cannot remember any of that, what I want you to take away from my talk is that search technology is such a potentially powerful learning technology that can support human learning, because there is so much rich online content sort of sitting there, and then people are so easily satisfying with getting just 3-4 search results. So I think that new intervention needs to be developed so that we can actually support the human learning better. My really long-term goal is that I always think that search system is so taken granted. This is one of the systems that people are using every day. People think that this is so easy. Everybody can search, never really understand the potential. However, it is actually making really important contributions to human capability. It can help people to make a better decision. It can really help people to better perform in their workplace, better perform in learning environment. But my personal research goal is going to kind of like, improve human capability in terms of their creativity. So I want to acknowledge my wonderful collaborators who have been working with me for the past 5 or 6 years to develop this research agenda and then conduct my research. And I'm now ready to take your questions, and thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, let me start from here. This is my comment and question. So how do you regulate the participant pre-knowledge level? Since it is learning, so the older participant might have a different starting point or pre-knowledge.
So like asking through pre-search questionnaire, we ask them to rate their knowledge level from 1 to 5. And then the other one is that we ask them to write down what they already know. So it's not like that we controlled it. We were trying to gather data to have a kind of like a starting point of their knowledge level. And then when we evaluate how much learning they gained, we went back to their initial essay to compare.
Okay. So we have a similar but slightly different question from Asuyuki.
Okay, so I need to change this.
Asuyuki, you're gonna actually ask her?
Yes. First of all, thank you for very interesting questions. My question is, you showed some key points of the good learning strategies you learned from the logs of queries. And, yeah. And I just wondered, I'm just wondering, they show some causalities or just
no, it's not causality. It's just a correlation. So,
okay, so
like if they wrote longer essay, you know, their like a learning score was higher. But I cannot really say that that's a causal relationship.
okay, so that's the first one. And the second one is that I assume that good learning strategies heavily depend on the prior knowledge of the learners. So, but you found anything about it, or the behaviors of the strategies didn't depend on the level of prior knowledge of learners or not? I don't know.
Right, so that's actually like a really difficult one. So that's why we chose the learning task on oil spill.
Okay.
Although that was like an easier one, and then these are mostly like iSchool students. So that we thought that bringing something that's not really relevant to their graduate school or undergraduate school program could take care of that, because I like you know, if we are doing this kind of study in chemical engineering department, we would not use that kind of search task. So we actually trying to bring in a little bit more so like a relatively foreign topic, and then we compare that to open data policy task that's like within their domain. So that's why we were constantly comparing their learning between these two tasks. So that's how we kind of controlled the different levels. So we assume that, you know, like open data policy, although that's somewhat difficult one, we could assume that they have a certain knowledge. And then their pre-search questionnaire responses actually show that, as opposed to oil spill, like most of people had no idea what they are. And then that's why actually oil spill shows more learning curve, you know, through this particularly increasing diversity interface.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have questions here. Oops, sorry. Here. Yuan Shan, you gonna speak or yeah? You gonna ask?
Okay, so the first one, yeah, we designed search. We designed the like a search engine for our experiment for all three. And then the way we did that was that we used Wikipedia corpus to generate search results. So I cannot say how large that was, but we like we came up with, for each oil spill and then data policy, we came up with 20 different search topics, and then we actually run that in the Wikipedia, and then we create data corpus. And then so that those were shown in the interface regardless of the like increasing diversity. And then
do you use particular ranking algorithm such that the user feel that they are searching like in a Google? I mean the effectiveness of the search engine. Does the search engine effectiveness affect your experience?
Okay, so I think that I need to go back. Actually, we used the algorithm that was even already developed by another researcher, and we cited them. So algorithm itself is not really new, but like again, the data corpus was coming from Wikipedia. So we carefully removed, like, you know, any like a Michigan logo or any Google logo, so that it could really look like very generic. But when we ran like a lot of pilot tests, almost like any query that our pilot test participants issuing were able to bring like 20 search results. So what happened was that we were very nervous. What happens if people actually go beyond the 20 because we didn't have more than 20. That's kind of a pre-plug, but nobody went beyond top 20 search results. So it was like a, little shaky, but it worked out okay. I think that nobody really complained about the quality of the search results.
Okay, Chang Liu, you're gonna ask directly, Chang?
Hi, Tom.
Or Professor Lee, you can
Okay.
start.
Okay, so I think that the question is about implicit measures of learning. So the potential kind of really set of implicit measures that we came up with are the very standard measures that a lot of information retrieval researchers are using. Okay, so like a number of queries or issued, or average time spent in search result page, or number of time spent in viewing documents and so on. But what we did was that we ran sort of like a factor analysis and came up with new measures by combining log data and then the results from questionnaire. So I cannot say that I am very confident that it's a sort of reliable, because it's particular context with a particular kind of student. But I think that it really shows potential measures that other people can try. So I encourage Chang, you actually try and see whether you can replicate the same results by applying our measures. I would be honored. It would be great if you can actually try that. So that's how we came up with it. We just try all kinds of different combinations, and then those 3 implicit measures that we came up are the ones that we were able to get.
Okay, we have one more question here, which is from Masaki.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much for interesting talk. Since I also studied crowdsourcing as a learning process, so I was very I enjoyed the talk. So my question is, asking users to reflect their searching assessment helped users learning. In the experiment, you asked users to assess self-monitoring, and do you think only searching helped learning, or a combination of this searching and self-assessment helped learning?
Right.
I wonder how percentage do these processes contribute?
That's a really good question. I don't know what you mean by self-assessment. Are you referring to questionnaire or
questionnaire
essay?
of the taxonomy of the Bloom's taxonomy?
Okay, yeah, because like the first task they kind of went through, and then they back to their second task, because everybody was doing 2 tasks. So what we did was that we rotate the order of those 2 search tasks, so that their experience from first search definitely would, I think that influence their second search, but we were making sure that not, like one task is always done and as a first task. So definitely we rotated the order of 2 tasks. The other one I can say is that from the beginning, we actually told them that you will be asked to write short essays with respect to 6 questions. Okay, we didn't say what they are, but we asked that you are going to be asked, to complete Likert scale, some questionnaire, but at the same time. So what happens was that people were taking notes.
Oh, okay.
We actually even gave them the paper. So that's why you are able to see such a nice kind of really essay, because they know that there will be some sort of a test to be done. So I think that, again, since there is no really, these are not really kind of system that are designed for learning. That's something that I want to work on for the next like 5 years. Okay. So like we just did a very little intervention in terms of increasing diversity, but I cannot really claim. So we were really looking at what they are doing, kind of really taking notes and so on. And then that really like gave us the idea that, you know, having the kind of space as a part of a search system where they can take notes, like annotation, or, you know, they think that what's really more important and the key documents, just providing the kind of like a notepad as part of search could help their learning. So that definitely gave us some idea.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I agree with that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your question.
We have one more question. Dr. Lee, you can briefly comment or answer this one.
You measured cognitive effort in performing. That's a good question. We did not compare because there were 30-something graduate students and then only 7 undergraduate students. So we decided, because of the different size of the sample, we decided not to compare. The first question, we didn't really measure cognitive effort physiologically. We just rely on their self-reports. How much effort did you actually put into searching? That's one of the 15 questions that we included in the post-search questionnaire.
Okay. So, Dr. Lee, Professor Lee,
Yes.
how do you evaluate this virtual seminar experience?
I think that I love it. It's great. There are 64 people, and I think that, thank you so much for copying, pasting these questions where we can share. So maybe that's even better than giving a talk, you know, with the 64 people. Then you have a really hard time reading the graph, right? And then such a sort of small font. And I hope that you are able to see the slides that I prepared more clearly. Because you are all looking at your own computer screen. Yeah. So yeah, this is great, great idea.
We have a front row experience. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you all. And then I'm going to be staying, and then Professor Lee, it's your turn.
Okay. Yeah. When we decide this virtual event, we think there must be 2 components. One is the distinguished professors' research topics, and at the same time, we have like a 30-member school in Asia. So each school can introduce each other, what they are interested in, how their the institution has been changing. So this presentation is about our university and our recent changes. So my name is Jun Lee. I'm a professor at Convergence Department in Seoul National University. I'm currently the chair of Asia Pacific iSchool. I do HCI research, so I'm serving the Korean HCI Society as well. So my topic is 2. One is the artificial intelligence, which is a hot topic in not only Korea, but many countries. But it impacts our university a lot. So I'm going to explain that one. And at the same time that since I'm the researching user experience, so my topic has been changed from normal experience to algorithmic experience. So I'm going to explain that. Let me introduce our school, the Seoul National University, which is in South Korea, in Seoul. We are one of the top tier university. Sungkyunkwan University, which Sam O, Youngshik Kim is, I think, is a good, better school. We are next one. In 2009, which is 10 years ago, our university launched interdisciplinary institution, which is a school of convergence, where I'm belonging. We have 4 branches, the bio, information, and nano, and cognitive. We have an information convergence department. At the beginning, we benchmarked Western or modern iSchools, the curriculum structures. So at the time, I met that Professor Lee Soo-young, Eisenberg, Samo, and Shigeo, and other people. So we steal the idea and we studied it. After a couple of years, we joined the iSchool membership. So we directly got an input and interaction with iSchool members. But we only have a 10 faculty member. So we are a small one, mini school. So we need a signature or the specialized point. So we ended up, we are the tech friendly iSchool. So it has been 10 years. So time passed and the situation changed, culture changed, everything changed. So now we are into the new era. Our university, Seoul National University, has a big initiative in AI. We have a big endowment and the government supporting. So I can say we are in an AI town. So we build a committee center, hired many faculty members. We even dig out the land for the Venture Valley for AI. Not only engineering school, computer science department, but almost all the college are participating in AI research. Our convergence department also reshaped. So we info study, robot study, system study, all combined as an information intelligence. In short, we call it II, means AI. One of our strengths is full stack, from the technical bottom to application up. Left side is the Carnegie Mellon AI School's full stack layers, from computing layer to autonomy and human interaction. This red dot square, ethics, planning, acting, decision supporting, those are the where iSchool can contribute. In our university, we have also a similar structure. AI enabler, chips and IoTs and the machines. And we have an algorithm part, and then we have an application part, studying the domain specific issues. Also, we have a strong component in software culture. So those are also the human information or iSchool related parts. One of the interesting things is the full stack. As I said here, that the student need to be in full stack environment. Even they cannot learn A to Z, they got influenced a lot by the full stack environment. So your adjacent neighbor, you have an understanding, you have a collaboration possibility, etc. So actually, we are building a new building, has a long single corridor, and along with this corridor, we have a diverse research labs allocated, and we are meeting when they pass by and lunch together and tea together, etc. We have one critical observation, which is when people studying AI or data science, they can get easily tunnel vision. They get very narrowed. They don't concern about the next ones and the topics. So we are forcing this technological component opens up and talk to each other and meet together frequently, casually. So those are the physical environment. So what's got to do with the AI and information research or iSchools? There are several research themes connecting information research and AI. Like a data science has a lot of topics connecting AI and information study. But our university or our department focusing on 4 items. One is the human-centric AI. Second one is AI interaction. And third one is the human-AI collaboration. And fourth one is the AI for social good. So those are the 4 areas that we are, as an information school member, are interested in. And as a user experience researcher, I'm researching or investigating the algorithmic experience, which is a big change in our life, information life. So I'm going to explain that in algorithmic experience. Like the traditional or the solid established research, human information behavior is the basic 101 course for iSchool, of iSchool. In the past, research on information behavior is done and observing people to people, people to system, and system to system, etc. The system means computers. And this study was conducted on empirical way or epistemological method. But things have been changed. We have to deal with AI. AI and AI agent and people interaction is not logical or not reason-based. It is more speculative way, and it is more phenomenological. So it is not easy to fully understand what is going on. So we are trying to embrace new attitude toward our research. Let me show you what is the algorithmic experience. I show 4 the examples. Let's say you enter the cafeteria, a familiar cafeteria you visit every day. You open the door, and you never say anything. But the lady or the boy is saying that or giving you a cup of tea and saying that here's just the dead skim milk latte, you never ordered it, and give it to you. This is quite daunting moment because you never said your preference, you never expressed your free will, but out of your accumulated data, that choice is much better than what you think. And soon you are accepting this situation. This is the algorithmic moment. It's quite odd, but it happens here and there. Next one, if you use iPhone or Android phone, it occasionally suggests that here's your new memory. Memories are made by me, myself, not by machine, but machine suggesting that these are memorable moments. It's quite daunting and odd. We know that the machine backs up automatically your photo, classifying it, labeling it, and grouping it. You know that. But the suggesting memory is a very the odd situation. This is also an algorithmic moment. You are facing the machine's suggestion, recommendation, which you never comprehend. Everybody uses the algorithm, the YouTube, right? Watching an hour, 2 hours every day. But when you started using the YouTube recommendation system, it symbolized the new time, the end of catalog era. catalog is the logical structure or order of information. We use the catalog to reach the information, but now the catalog is done. When you meet catalog, it's quite cognitively very tiring system. And informations are ever changing. It's getting larger and larger. It has a new relationship. Catalog doesn't endure. Yeah. So most users habitually choose one of the recommended video list, and you tame it by watching it or ignoring it. So that behavior is quite popular, prevailing now, and this is an algorithm movement as well. You started using the smart speaker, and you notice that you can specify the object and comment, like order fried kitchen 6 p.m. or something like that. But you know that the voice interaction machine much better works in just saying, stating the situation and problem, like I'm hungry, new from the Netflix, or music for evening. The machine understands our intent, and it bypasses the rhetorics and expression. It just rendered into our true intention, then matching the right solution to us. So it is also changing our information behavior. We are no longer specifying the object, the name, and the comment and process anymore. We don't have to memorize it. We just nicely stating our situation or our problem, our goal, then machine understand it. So that is a huge change in our information behavior. So what is it? We have to design an intuition. It isn't not an logical or the legend-based design. It is daunting and very arcane. Recommendation system, search, predictions, and everything. The result of it is quite difficult to understand it, but we have to choose it. So there should be a novel way of interacting or presenting the result or controlling the system. So it is quite a difficult task for everybody. It is changed because the back system has been changed. Computing for up until the couple of years ago, old paradigm always start from people. We command and system calculate, and it gave us the result. But new paradigm, it started from the data, collected data, and the event triggers the data, and the algorithm engine and algorithm model predict, recommend, and decide it. And it interface, preempt, or suggest, or guide us. People are very responsive or passive in situation. They are incapable of understanding. They only prehend it. It's a vague notion of understanding. And they cannot control a very specific button. They have to tame it by their behavior. Just not watching it, ignoring it, it is one of the ways to tame the system. So interaction is very blur for everybody. I suggest that the dual creator interaction model. let me put it this way. The user every day behave, live, and they accumulate data. And the machine find a critical event and they preempt people. And people, either they take it or dump it. This kind of taming it affect machine. And the machine, not communication with people. So this is there's a two corridor. One is very ambient way of accumulating data, and the accumulating data. The top level is also blur interaction, soft interaction. Those two parts are very important interaction behavior scheme. It happens in various way. One, workaround. There's no specific tool, but we know that interactions are going this way. So usually already started learning workaround strategy to interact with the algorithm. There's many articles and many blog posts saying that how you can control the algorithmic system or recommendation system by doing this, by doing that. So for instance, like a Facebook notifications or the smartphone notifications are out of control. So you can go deep into the settings manual, but control settings, but it's very difficult to find right command. So people just doing by their behavior. We call it taming it. These are like a bottom-up approach, people's folksonomy or the folk approaches. Device companies or IT companies are also introducing new interfaces. Normally, when you have the music app, this play button and left side used to be have a rewind button, but now it's gone. There's no rewind button. There is a favorite button or like button. It is one of the way that explicitly giving feedback to the machine, recommendation system. Then why you don't have a dislike button? Since you have a like button, and why don't you have a dislike button? Actually, this forward button is dislike button. If you don't like it, you skip it. So these the interface, newer kind of interface are applied into the many new systems, SNS and media systems and other systems. We are confronting newer way of interface, newer kind of interfaces. Academic researches. There are many the papers are coming out, the algorithmic experience. It argues that we need profiling, transparency, profiling management, awareness, user control, and remembering. Those are the problematic area, and there is a solutions like how you can transparently control the algorithm. So there's more, I guess, the academic paper coming out about the algorithmic experience and the its control. Industry guidelines. Microsoft and Facebook, Google all announced this algorithmic experience guidelines, because the paradigm is so differently changed. So our old behavior doesn't quite well works. Old paradigm is computer suggests the text or number, we understand it, and we made a decision. Now, we just look at it, scan it, and prehend it, and we just behave it. So there is a new or kind of the guideline coming out from many, many companies. So the algorithmic experience makes people difficult to using the good system. It is like blind people holding blind people's hand, searching for load. It is very ambiguous and dubious the journey. But it can be a personal level. It can in personal level. It creates a filter bubble, so you are fall into the U loop, and you cannot get the full picture of the society or your country or world. You are just separated in your own world. That is in personal level. But at the same time, it creates a bias. There is many books coming out. This automation, recommendation system, algorithm create a social bias. So these two levels, the personal level and social level, algorithm affect a lot. So we have to understand the algorithm society, and we have to information researchers now has to research the those areas. Conclusion. The new computing system called artificial intelligence does not have an indexical or direct or relationship with humans. It has a relationship environmentally or propensity. Change is the only way to control the system. It is very difficult to problem for the individual and organization, and much research has to be conducted. So those are the my study area, and our university is focused on. Since there is many companies around us, they are making new system, and all the system has an artificial intelligence or machine learning part within it. And all they have a problem, how they can create and design an intuition or algorithmic experience. That is the recent topic in our country and our industry and our university. Okay, thank you. Shigeo asked how many graduate and undergraduate students at your school. We are graduate school basically, and I said that we have 100 students coming every year. Divisions are most popular among the students. At this point, the many students are going into core AI, the technical AI, the component. It is very tough part, but it has a big need in our society. Once you finish the course, then you got the high wage and a lot of chance to get employed. So they want to be in a big, the core AI department, the area. But the funny thing is it has been changed a lot. The Korea has many AI service venture companies, and IT companies are launching new AI services. So upper part, application part are also quite popular area. The problem is the existing domain experts. We are comparing. Is it better to re-educate domain expert into this new technology, or new technology people toward the specific domain? So we are in the consideration. And the Yohei Seki, many thanks for great social bias or filter bubble is a challenging problem and grateful suggest solution of collaboration. Yes. So the one of the project, which is a very mini project, prototyping project, is the breaking down the bubble. Is kind of the putting many mixing serendipity parts or the big picture part in the recommendation. So it can be a much novel and interesting. At the same time, you get a great glimpse of the what is going on around. So what the Lee Young professor just mentioned for search as a tool, comprehensive learning tool, we are doing similar way that the mixing other information or breaking down the bubble to expand their the horizon. That's one of the things that we are trying. Okay, the next one. Similar question. Do you have AI technical term to support the comprehensive?
Team, not term.
Yeah, team. Okay, I have a very low technical level. But funny thing is as you know that the democratization of AI. Many big companies are releasing very easy toolkit. Tools are very rudiment, very simple, basic. So it reveals true nature of the tool. It's like a first version of Photoshop, or first version of the word processor at this point. Many of my students are non-technical background, and they learn the toolkit and they play with it, and they got the novel, interesting idea, and then they are collaborate with the technical friends or colleagues. So I think this is the time when HTML first introduced. Those new standards lower the barrier a lot. So anybody with a good idea can easily enter into the new technology. I guess this door will close soon, maybe in 3 years or 5 years. But right now, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they are releasing a very interesting tool now. So we are promoting that into students. Xiaomi, do you have any research who look at ethics and trust issue in AI? Yes, that is quite an issue actually. But as I said, that instead of ethics, we are we are implementing software culture part. Software culture is quite popular in New York-based or East Coast university like MIT and NYU faculty members, philosophers. They are analyzing the existing technology, and they are releasing many books, and they are talking about the technology. We are subscribing that one. So at this point, we are less focused on the ethics, but more focused on the culture and philosophy, tech philosophy. That's my answer. We have one more question. Nishad. How are algorithms changing the habit and perspective of human nature, which took centuries to transfer otherwise? How can we prevent any negative transmission of human nature? Well, okay, the new technology definitely make us lazy, and some part of our muscle will decay or dormant. That's definitely what new technology can affect us. Like when you have a navigation, we are losing the wayfinding the skills, right? But I'm positive in that we are spending less time on tedious and banal activities. We put our energy into more the gorgeous and the better things. For instance, like once we got the navigation system, we lost location idea, the wayfinding ideas, but we are moving, we are visiting more interesting places. We are planning much better way. So our movement or our journey is a lot better than before, right? So algorithm definitely will make us lazy and loose-minded, but I guess human will find better use for our cognitive energy into the designed things, creative things, and noble things to do it. So those are my hope and expectation, and based on that hope, we are developing systems. I want to ask Shigeo Sugimoto, the past chair, to closing comment for this interesting.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much. This is a great opportunity, and thank you very much for all of the efforts. And actually, you said that this is a closing comment, but we will continue. So that we need to find the next host speakers and also the next host. So that we will continue this effort. So that I think at some point we will find the next speakers, but I think it would be nice to encourage people to volunteer to speak about their schools and also. So how do you think?
I agree, yes. So we plan it bi-monthly. So every even month, beginning of even month, we will have this session. And actually next session, someone actually participated. They raised their hand already. So maybe the next one, we can open up the participation.
All right. So thank you very much, and I enjoyed a lot. Thank you. I believe that everyone has enjoyed.
Okay. Thank you, Soo-young Lee, and thank you, everybody. Okay, see you in 2 months later. Yeah, okay.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.